Hello everyone. This video is I saved till last because it's probably in my eyes personally very important to me. It's my personal view about how I feel the 5 News UK relaunch recently went. It was relaunched some months ago, but again it was relaunched. This time 5 News UK is produced not by Sky News anymore, but by ITN, which in a way I welcome. Since the relaunch, I've noticed that they use of number 5, which is great, with a blue background, which looks rather bland. And when you look at the website, the number 5 doesn't look very good in front of with the news reporter or whoever in front of it. It's not a good colour. The actual opening credits, they're a lot better because they're pale blue and pink, and really sets it off quite well. Some changes I would like to see. I'd like to see reporter Katie Goodman, formerly known as Schenkin, doing the main evening news programme, presenting it some of the time. She has an awesome accent. Apparently she's from Glasgow, I think she said she was from. I think she's actually told me or confessed that on Twitter. And also there is a reporter on 5 News UK called Simon Pusey. Simon Pusey is very good, but there is also my idol, Simon Vega, who also works on 5 News UK. Certain newsreaders on that programme sometimes say, here's Simon, and then they might say, here's Simon Vega, and then other times it say, here's Simon, and then there's no distinction between Simon Vega and Simon Pusey. I've mentioned this on the 5 News UK website because, from my point of view, I've got every respect for Simon Pusey, but Simon Vega is the one I like to see, and I want to see him mentioned. Simon Vega. Here's Simon Vega. Here's Simon Pusey. It doesn't sound like a lot to ask, but the autocue needs to be changed, and I hope that that does start to happen because newsreaders commonly say, here's Simon for both Simon Vega, Simon Pusey. Anyway, beyond that, the relaunch has gone, I think, fairly well. I still wish they would go back to the 5 News sofa, whereby it's more relaxed and you actually sit down. I think that would work better, and I certainly don't like the blue background. That's not me at all. I don't like that. I think it's too masculine. I think you've got a colour like that with a girl. I noticed one night as well, newsreader Matt Barbette wore a very similar blue-looking shirt in front of the blue background, which it looked like part of the background, which I just didn't see the logic or whatever. Also, the 5 News UK staff actually wear clothes from Debenhams, which is very good because Debenhams actually do a lot of good clothes because they have exclusive deals, some of them. Anyway, beyond that, I'm really glad that Simon Vega has stayed on 5 News. I love 5 News. I cannot imagine watching anything else. And I also hope that one day that newsreader Ellie Crizell, who works on the BBC at the moment, actually gets to work on 5 News one day, i.e. be the official face of 5 News. I would love that. That would make my dream come true. I'd love to see Helen Fospero back. I have no idea what she's doing in her career now, and Helen Fospero has a lovely smile. Emma Crosby's very good, and, Matt Barbette is fairly good, but I don't feel that connection to what they say in the same way as Katie Goodman, Julian Drucker, and Helen Fospero, and possibly Ellie Crizell, because I used to watch Newsround a lot, and Ellie Crizell would present that, a fair bit. Anyway, that's more or less how I feel about 5 News UK, the relaunch, the music, and everything else, as best as I can really describe it. I wish ITN luck with producing 5 News, and I hope they carry on producing it. I think Richard Desmond didn't want to carry on using Sky News because of cost, and I can't say to blame him for that. I suppose in this recession or whatever you call it, you're looking for savings, and I think that ITN does do a better job. One thing I will say is I wish they would bring back the Channel 5 film review. That used to be a review every week on 5 News of films that were coming out every Friday. Usually the ones I would want to go and see would be like typical examples of Fox and the Child, typical ones that would come out but would only be shown at big theatres, at big cinemas, and they would do okay, but they weren't certainly the box office smashes like Angelina Jolie or whatever. You know what I'm trying to say, if that makes sense. My favourite film of last year was The Dolphin Tale, which, as I say, if I'd not seen a preview online, I never would have known about Winter, that lovely dolphin. The other thing I would like to see back on 5 News is something called Your News, which I think is the most important part of 5 News. By that, it is whereby you are filmed by a webcam. You can say what you wish. You can then send it to 5 News, and you can actually have your actual broadcast on TV. That's something that 5 News experimented with, and so did ITV1 News, but they never really took it forward. The most important viewer, the most important person on 5 News is the viewer. So your news should definitely come back. That's my personal opinion. I'm not an expert. And I criticised Mr. David Kermode for axing the lunchtime news on 5 News. You know, the actual Kate Jabot, Helen Fospero, Channel 5 film review, all that sort of thing, weekly film review every time. I didn't agree with that decision, and I still don't. At the moment, you have a summary programme, which is okay, and occasionally I do watch, and it's great to see Katie Goodman on it sometimes. But I feel that the original lunchtime programme should come back, and some of those original features, the Channel 5 film review, and your news should definitely come back. They're important elements, they're relevant, and they should be part of 5 News UK. That's my opinion. And I'm glad that Simon Viger's still on. I wish Simon Pusey well, and I wish them all well. My top favourite people on 5 News at present are Simon Viger, Catherine Jones, reporter, and in terms of my favourite newsreader, Julian Drucker, because I haven't really seen anyone else apart from Katie Goodman, who's only on very occasionally. Apparently she's a stand-in. Anyway, take care. Good night. Goodbye for now.